I'd actually like to share a little bit because you talked about the 10-day course that you lead. So I went through that. Let's see, I don't know, maybe 3.5 times, I think. Something
Yeah,
like that,
the
3.5
latest
times.
version of it.
Yeah.
In its original version, he was there at the beginning, 12
And
years ago.
it's been really interesting for me to, because the thing is, whatever you do, you have so many of these voices in your head that say like things like, it's not really possible, or you can't really create what you want just by wishing it, or intending for it even. And so there are these just kind of these background voices, and you always are a little bit skeptical. But I did the 10-day, and this was only about 5 years ago, I think, when you did the first one.
Going on 4 years ago. 2009.
Yeah. So anyway, during that time, and I did 3 of the 10 days, and then a half of another, and I just had like phenomenal results that that I can't ignore. After the first 10-day with him, it was like a miracle. I had been in this really deep pain layer around being taken for the umpteenth time around money, basically losing it in some get-rich-quick scheme. And so I was in this really deep pain layer, and I had this sense, because I'd been working with Greg and hanging out with Greg for a long time now, and I had a sense at that time that this was hopefully the last time this was going to happen. But it was so painful and brought up all my survival fears. I thought I'd lost my life savings, and it just, I was devastated. And I went through a period of like maybe 4, 5, 6 months being in that space and really wondering why I created it. And then Greg called me with this 10-day course in Phoenix, and I signed up for it. And I set an intention, and I usually don't set money intentions, but I just, money was so like upfront in my face that I set an intention to make at least $30,000 a month, which is like, for me, insane. Not totally insane, but that's still a lot of money. But I didn't really think it was going to happen, because there's just too many voices that this is just impossible. But the week before the course, I actually made $30,000. The week of the course, I made another $30,000, and that month I made $80,000. And then I consistently made some like anywhere from 45 to 135 to actually going up to 230,000 a month. And I even made $100,000 in a single day. Now that didn't last, but it was so unheard of for me, because I mean, up until that time I'd made like at the most $70,000 in a year. And it was this, I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't ignore it. I mean, it was so like in my face of how quickly it turned around, and what money was, I mean, how easy it was to actually receive money.
Yeah, you see, money is far and away one of the most difficult areas for people to, let's say, be happy about or be empowered with. And there's many reasons for that, and it's a multifaceted kind of problem. But there's, you see, you also hear us talking a lot about authenticity, being true to yourself. Like, who is the true you? You know, the you that you maybe are afraid to express or afraid to allow. And when you can get down deep enough, as we peel the layers away, you'll find in there what your true relationship to money is. It might be very, very different than you expect. And without going into a lot of detail, the thing that's important for this conversation is it is authentic for John to make large amounts of money. Now that may seem kind of like, well, can't anybody do that? And And I would actually assert that from a point of view of your deepest truths, your heart's desires, your authenticity, who you really are, your life purpose, you know, what did you come here to do? Money plays a role. It has a place. And that can be a very, very, very small place in the truth for a given person. Or it can be a very, very, very large place and can be the truth. So the dramatic results that John experienced is really about him touching who he really is. And not so much about, I want a lot of money. Because when you touch who you are, and that starts to be expressed in the world, the miracles start occurring, and they will be different miracles for everyone. And so it's not about promising money or intending money, but it is about being empowered with money. Y'all, no one should be suffering around money. That's pain and fears and frustrations. This must and can be fully removed so that when you drop into your own flow of life, your own synchronicity, your own zone, and money has a role, and you will find that you have the money for all that you authentically, truly want. And it may be very, very tiny, and it may be very large. And
Yeah.
so it's first and foremost about who are you, the truth of your being, and the joy that comes with that.
Thank you. That was so perfect. And what is really powerful about the story for me anyway, and my reality is that, you know, what Greg was talking about digging deeper and finding layers and sometimes having unexpected surprises. I mean, like, well, for example, with the money. So I made all this money, and then suddenly I was afraid of losing it. And huge voice, big fear, in the body kind of fear, and pain, really deep, deep pain. Probably generations of poverty and losses of money. I mean, who knows exactly what's in my past, but just a huge, deep, pain layer that I had to go through by losing it all. So I ended up not losing all of it. I had the right amount of money left to then take an extended break and really focus on myself. So it actually was perfect that all that happened, and I discovered that my block wasn't in receiving. I could receive plenty if I wanted to. It was actually, my block was in the giving, and so it was really about the flow of money. And I eventually, I worked through a lot of stuff. Eventually I really got how money has to that my purpose is for money to flow through me. Large amounts of money to flow through me, and for me to use that money in ways that serve others.